Hello and welcome back. Let's catch up with Rails 4. In the previous lesson, we talked about the native Postgres support for arrays. Today we're going to talk about the model class from the ActiveModel module. Let me show you what this can do. Let me open the editor on a form4 object that's defined in the view. Let's open, for example, the post form in here. This form4 method is called upon the post object. The post object is an active record one, so it has many features out of the box. One of them is the ability to use the form4 on top of the object. This f variable is a form builder and gives you access to many methods. For example, the text field, text area, and all these form builder methods. They allow you to build a perfectly structured form that can be used later on when creating new instances of post, edit existing ones, and so on. Up until Rails 3, there has been a catch. The variable that goes inside the form_for method should be an active record object. Well, how about a special kind of object that could be perfectly useful for us to take advantage of the form4 and then do something with it that's not to be persisted in a database? What about those? Well, now in Rails 4 you have the opportunity to do that. Use different objects by including a mixin and making them available to build a form4 with that, for example. Some other features are also available. We'll take a look. That feature is the ActiveModel model mixin. I'll use the File Explorer to create a new kind of model. But be warned that this is not exactly an active record model, but just a basic model. I'll create the contact.rb file so that we can create a contact so that we can send contact messages. So here you see that I already have something like this. The contact class includes the ActiveModel model mixin. This is a module that you can now include in order to gain certain features. So let's complete the example. I have a first name, a last name, and now I'm going to add a subject and a message, for example. Now I'm going to create a controller in the background so that we can create a new contact form and then send it. So here I have a form for a contact. I have already created the controller, the respective routes to create a new form, and then to send the inquiry. We also had the contact model, and now here is the view. It looks really similar as if we were using an active record model, but in fact we're just using a class that uses ActiveModel model. Now we're able to use action-packed features such as the form4 method. Let's save and run the server. So I'll type bundle exec Rails server, or S for short. Okay. Let's go to the browser and go to that content inquiry form. Let's go to localhost port 3000/contacts/new. This will create a new contact form like we saw. And there you go. We have first name, I'll type in my name, for example, the last name, a subject, and a message. Okay, finally we press the send inquiry button. Voila! The email was sent. Actually, it should have been inquiry or something, but that's not important. The important thing to retain here is that ActiveModel successfully allowed us to use a contact form. Now let's inject a little variation. What if you wanted to add some validation? For example, the name cannot be blank, or the message should be a little longer than 10 characters, for example. ActiveModel provides us just that. So let's evolve on our contact class and introduce validations. Let's see. How about this? We're requiring the first, last name, and message to be mandatory, and then the message should be at least more than 10 characters. That sounds just perfect for our test. Let's first go to the contacts controller. Now this contact.valid will return false if we pass nothing to the first name, last name, or message, and also if the message is less than 10 characters long. Now let's go to the browser and go back to the contact inquiry form. This time I won't pass anything to first name, last name, and also the message. If I press send inquiry now, it will return false. I apologize. The correct parameter is minimum, not min. So let's fix that really quick. In the contact form, I'll replace min with minimum, like this. Now I'm going to reload the form submission since we don't need to do it all over again. So I'll press continue. And now you see that we have some information. At least we have these red markers. This is the same that happens in good old active record forms. When something's wrong, the bad inputs are marked in red. I'll fill the data all over again, and now I'm going to press send inquiry. And there you go. The mail was sent. So we've already seen the main features of using ActiveModel. These are the most fun ones. But let's take a look at some others. And to do that, I'm going to GitHub and show you the commit for ActiveModel. So this is the commit that made it all possible. You have some changes here which I'm going to highlight. The first one is that the model mixin is injected into ActiveModel so it can be accessible. And then when this mixin is included, the class that we're on extends from naming, translation, and also has validations and conversion. We took a look at the validations and the naming, which is used in the form4 method, for example. Also, we're allowed to use initialize here, for example, and you can pass the params variable instead of passing each attribute one by one. It looks more flexible indeed. And finally, some tests to cover this up. One of the features that I didn't tell you about is this one of translation. You see from this example that if you pass a particular string for an attribute of yours, and then use the human attribute name, you get the attribute in a nice human way. Notice that when we go to our demonstration here, first name is what shows, and not the underscored name or anything like that. You simply get first name in plain English. That's what this model does. It allows you to use plain English for the labels, for example. This is the final mixin that is included in the ActiveModel model mixin. You see, one of the methods here is toKey, which is also used in the form4 method. It allows you to specify an action to which it should point. When you call the toKey method on top of your object, it does something like this. A list of all the key attributes is returned for the form builder method to use. This is the main purpose of this module. It allows you to convert some attributes into important variables. ActiveModel model is simply a module that includes other already existing modules in Rails 3. In the previous version of Rails, Rails 3, you had to define a particular initialize method and also a persisted method that will return false. The form_form method required that method to exist in order to determine if the form would point to a post method or a put or patch method. But all of that common functionality has been grouped in the ActiveModel model mixin. I showed you the source code in GitHub that did exactly that. Those two methods are included in there, as well as the extension and inclusion of the other four modules. Well, this is it on the ActiveModel model. I hope you have enjoyed the content today. In the next lesson, we'll take a look at the not method in ActiveRecord. Stay tuned. I hope to see you soon. Thanks for watching.